Alright, hey chat, my name's Josh. I've got a small indie studio called Palfrey Games. You can find more on palfreygames.ca. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing for my new board game, Quest Island. It's a cooperative game where you can work together as a team in 2 to 5 player groups to kind of defeat the quests together. It's an RPG, and if you like either Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons, I think this kind of game is going to be right down your alley. Without further ado, let's get started. So I just got this delivered after kind of designing the game. I guess it's not quite the first prototype though. I had a prototype before this one, and there's a couple mechanics in it that I removed. One reason was because some people found the mechanics too much. Another reason was that the cards just had too much on them. So one of the mechanics I removed was role-playing. I really like Dungeons and Dragons, and the role-playing was kind of something I wanted to incorporate in the game, but I think a lot of the new players that played had a really tough time learning that mechanic and incorporating it and picking it up, and a lot of people that aren't into role-playing just don't really get into role-playing. So without further ado, let's see what's in the box. Ooh. Actually, let's look at the box first. So here we got the cover. See if it will focus there. On each side, there's other things. So I should have cleaned my nails there. We got 2 to 5 players. This does not include dice in this small box. It's cooperative play. It's role-playing, and each game should take about 2 to 3 hours. Here we got the bottom of the box. We got the Demon Abaddon there. We got some flavor text on the side. The words echo in the sky. Blood pools on the ground. Deep under the island, a rumbling starts. The ground shakes violently, and lights shoot upward, erupting into the sky, making the heavens shudder. Tremors send players reeling. Deafening booms blast players as it all seems to calm. One final boom, and the ground explodes, sending fireballs and magma skyward. A giant, terrifying demon appears before you. The demon Abaddon has been summoned. So that's one of the encounters. This is actually a kind of final boss, or BBEG, in the end, and you can kind of use the box itself as a placeholder. Let's see what we got in here. We've got our instructions booklet, and we've got 162 unique cards. In our booklet here, there's about 24 pages. It's actually pretty small. There's only a couple paragraphs on each page. Let's see if we can focus on that. And there's visuals to help explain each rule. And again, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, this is something you should pick up just like no problem. If you're into RPGs or like Baldur's Gate or playing video games, lots of the mechanics are pretty straightforward. Once you build the map, everything kind of plays itself. So here is a token cutout. As you can see, we've got kind of like a party there, if that'll focus there. Party, and using the magic of movies here, I'm going to show you. We got that. So once you kind of cut them out, they make little tokens for you, little players. That, there we can get that in there. Come on, party. Come on, Bobby. Let's go party. Well, if that ever focused, we got a player, and we got enemies, and we got player 1, 2, 3, 4, so you can all keep track on the battleground real easy for yourself. I think I'm actually going to add more of these tokens as well. I find them really, brings the game together. We got a couple different types of cards, and we'll go through them all pretty slowly here so you can learn the mechanics as we go. Maybe we can look for mistakes that I made. See if I can separate these into the different types and still have room to show you guys here. Alright, so there's 5 different types of cards here. We got our encounter cards. So as we're playing in the game, you're moving across the island, and these encounter cards will pop up. I'll show you how those happen, but we'll go through some of the cards first. We've got our battleground cards, and on the other side is our enemies. We've got our characters, and we've got our island cards, which on the other side is treasure. And we've got our quest cards, which on the other side is your quest, but more in depth. So first let's go through some of the characters. And I'll show you some of my favorite cards. So you can choose any one of these characters, and they all kind of have pretty regular fantasy archetypes. But there's quite a few for you to choose. And on the back, you can see there's items here. So we've got a berry amulet, red brooch amulet, reflective shield, boom, boom, boom. We'll go through quite a few of these, just so you can get a good idea of how the game is played and what you can expect. Once players are kind of done choosing their characters, you use the leftover cards as a marketplace pile, and you can trade treasure and other things for them, and their value is here. So this one's 150, so it's pretty cheap. This is 250, 350, 400, and I think they kind of go up and up from there to get better and better loot. This Killian Gerard, Fierce Captain. In each of the playtests I've done, someone has actually played him, so something about him is clearly alluring to the point where someone in the party wants to play him. He's kind of like a ranger character, so he's got a couple range attacks, couple buffs, a couple area of attack spells. He's a pretty good one to have on the team. And on the back of that, he's got the crystal boots. So if you're not playing him, this will be available in the marketplace for 550. It gives 2 AP, 2 MP, and 15 movement. And what does that mean? If we take a look at our characters here, there's stats in each corner and the middle of the top. This is your armor. So armor is kind of like doubles the damage. If you took 6 damage and you had 2 armor, you'd take only 4 damage. This is your magic points. This is your health points. This is your action points. And these are your movement points. So Killian's pretty well rounded with all of those. But here we have Cassia, and she's a bit of like a mage. So she has 0 armor. She's got 6 magic points and 5 action points. So she doesn't have many action points, but she can cast spells. And she's got kind of a little bit less health there. 9 as opposed to 16 there. So she has Magic Dart, a Starfall, which deals damage to all enemies within range. It deals fire damage, and she does Overcharge, which if she can't cast anything, she can buff herself for the next turn. And at the cost of 4 AP, 6 MP, she can charge and give herself 6 more MP next turn. She also has a portal, so she can move characters and herself around the battlefield pretty quickly. Enemies will also use the portal, so be careful. Actually, on the back side of her is the Twilight Blade. Vorpal Slash, 1d6 damage and 2d6 fire damage, ignoring armor. Depending on what enemy you're going for, each one has kind of like a little bit of a weakness. Each one has a little bit of a strength. Obviously, some are just stronger overall, but keep things in mind that treasure might come in useful, so don't sell it if you might find it has a unique purpose. This is Ulrich the Merchant. He's got abilities that kind of pertain to training and a little bit of like an overall just regular money trading character. He has a crossbow. He has luck. So until the end of your next turn, all allies hit critical bonus damage, also on a 1. So anytime you roll a critical hit, you add 2 damage to your roll. So if you were to roll a 1, you'd get a 3, which is better than a 1. If you were to roll a 6, you'd roll an 8. Some things also add more damage to that bonus, so you could be rolling a 1 and hit 5 or 6 or 7 damage. On the other side of him is kind of something that relates to his character. It's called the Spider Necklace. Critical hits land on 4, 5, and 6, and you get +2 damage to critical hits. So if you're a character that's rolling critical hits, that can really lock you in. Ooh, God, I hate it. This is Piper, the Tiefling Druid. So she can summon little spiders. She can beef the spiders or allies as well. And she can do a little bit of damage with kind of like a whip. When Piper takes damage, roll twice and take the lowest roll. This is Damien the Great. Damien the Great is a wizard, and he's kind of like your quintessential like magic missile, kind of like ranged, stay out of combat kind of guy. One interesting ability he has is called Arcane Carrion. So target enemy takes 2 damage, then 1 damage for each time it's been cast on that target this battle. Ignore armor. So he also has something that Cassia had, which is kind of like a magic boost. So if he can't cast anything, next turn he can give himself kind of like a boost of MP and AP or an ally. So he can kind of sit there and beef himself up and then run in and attack, and then kind of like retreat. He also has a magic missile ability, but it targets 2 enemies, if there's 2 enemies to be targeted. This is Elowen. She's also been played in every test play that I've done, so clearly something about her's very attractive to players. She's kind of like our paladin character. Elowen, Shield of Templar. So she has Brace Yourself. She takes half damage until next turn. Enemies don't get critical bonuses against her. And she gets +2 AP and +3 MP next turn. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't put... A lot of these things can be stacked, so hers can be stacked. I'm surprised I didn't put once a turn. She's got a long sword. She's got Blessing. So on the first turn of battle, all allies heal for 1 health. Shield Bash, 1d6 normal damage. Once per turn. On a critical, the enemy cannot attack next turn. So on a smaller enemy, that might not be a big deal, but there's going to be big enemies which you guys really need to work together to either kind of chisel down, or if you can stun lock them, that's one way to make sure your party survives the next round. This is Strixen, the Elven Witch. So she's kind of like a poisoner and like a hexer. She can use a voodoo pin here, and it deals one normal damage to an enemy every turn. This damage stacks cumulatively, and ignores armor. So again, that's kind of something that starts off slow but can really, really build damage if you got kind of like a longer battle. Stunning Hex, 1d6 damage to an enemy with a voodoo pin on a critical. Enemy skips their next turn, once per turn. Deadly Hex, deals 1d6 normal damage to all enemies with a voodoo pin, ignoring armor. So she can stick all these different enemies and then damage them at the same time if they have a voodoo pin. Also, she gives you the ability to run away from any battle if all enemies have voodoo pins in them. So that ability can be super useful. If you are stuck in a battle you don't want to be stuck in, that can be the end of your party. That can be the end of the game. This is Trisk the Druid Healer, the other druid in our game. He's the big healer. He also has kind of debuffs for the enemy team and a little bit of what's that? What, like an ensnare. So he's manipulating the field of battle a little bit. What's the word for that, chat? Help me out here. On the back of that, he's got a worm potion, one use. So double all players' damage for one battle. All players get plus 25 movement for one turn. There's potions and spells and spell books in this game. The potions are one use, and then you shuffle them either back into the treasure pile, or this is a character, so he'll go back into the marketplace. Same thing with the scrolls. Some characters interact with scrolls and potions differently, so they kind of have different mechanics. And then the spell books are items that can be used once per battle, and they can be pretty powerful as well. Once we kind of get into the items, I'll talk a bit more about it and how to build your character and kind of level up with items. This is Dandelion, the fairy warrior. So she's got kind of like really high movement points right there. She can go in and out of battles. She's got almost no health. So 8 health on a starting character is very, very low. She can be one hit by any enemy, essentially. A critical hit will be 8 damage, and if she's got 0 armor and 8 health, that'll be game. And on the backside, she's got the fairy bow. And with that, it's got a sprig shot arrow, so 1d6 times 3 normal damage, plus 1d6 fire damage. And that's quite a bit of damage, because at the beginning you'll just be doing like 1 damage, and then by level 6 you guys will be doing quite a lot of damage as players on a team. This is Trisha, the human scientist, so that's kind of her unique thing. She's not magic, she's a scientist. She's got a chain lightning, 1d6 fire damage. If another enemy is within 15 range, hit that enemy and then repeat. So it'll hit more and more enemies as it goes. It's got canister, so Trisha gets plus 5 damage next turn and heal all enemies within 15 range by 1. So she kind of... And a biotech boost. All creatures within 35 range get plus 1 damage and plus 1 health for the rest of combat. So if you're sitting on the back line, you can be beefing your party before you even start the battle. On the other side of that is the reflective shield. Reflect 2 all incoming damage. Reflected damage ignores armor. Ooh, sorry, one sec. Just a little bit. Oh, okay, here we got Kenneth the Red, number 3. He's kind of like a paladin as well. He's got quite a bit of armor. He doesn't have any healing abilities, but he's got a lot of like fire damage and area of attack damage. So one is fire breath. Deal 1d6 damage in a 15 range cone. A lot of the cones don't do a lot of damage, but they cover a lot of area. So if you get an item that increases their spell and you have something that's in a cone damage, if you've played D&D, you know the cone kind of just and then like you're filling up half the battlefield in no time. On the backside of Caneth is Obsidian Gauntlets. You get +3 sword damage, +1 normal damage, and +1 AP. So when you have a sword, that'll still, the +1 damage will also go to the sword. So you essentially get +4 to any sword damage, but also +1 to any other normal damage that you're doing. And then +1 AP, which is always awesome. Being able to use actions is fun. This is Bujin of Water and Air. Can I get these to see? Oh, come on. So much for having a wicked camera. I guess it's close up, so it's a little bit harder. But this guy has kind of high movement points. He's also a battlefield kind of manipulator. So he can move enemies, and he can move allies, and he can beef allies and de-beef or debuff enemies. Inspire. So players in a circle of 30 range get +3 damage until the end of your next turn. That includes him. So if he's buffing himself, he can buff, and he gets 3 damage till the end of his next turn. So on the next turn, you get the +3 damage. Swift. Sacrifice X movement. Target player gets X movement next turn. X extra movement next turn. Gust. Move any character 10 range in any direction unless there's an obstruction. And Punch. He doesn't have a whole lot of like damage, but he does have a very low mana cost punch, which you can either beef up that punch and get tons of damages, or you can beef up his action points and get tons of punches. Either way, he's kind of like a monk. He can also not be locked in combat. So just like other games where you get locked in combat, if you're adjacent to an enemy, you'll have to roll to get out of it, essentially, or sacrifice your movement. On the back of his card is actually one of the most useful consumables in the game. It's a Rewind Time Vial. Resurrect and heal all players to maximum health and revert all players and enemies to starting positions. Players get double movement for 1 turn. So if you guys are in a bind, once you die, if you're in the middle of losing a big battle, take that. Here we got Theoden, Dwarven Engineer. He's a bit of a tank too, so he's got a higher defense, and he's got an ability to resist normal damage by 2. If it doesn't say what kind of damage it is, it's automatically normal damage. There's also fire damage and poison damage. He's got the ability to imprint a weapon, choose a player, and choose a weapon or spell they control. It gets +3 damage until imprint weapon is cast again. So that's continuing outside of battle as well. And that could be any weapon, spell, or anything that deals damage, essentially. He also has a pretty cool ability, which I like as a dwarf. It's called Sing. So until the end of your next turn, allies get +2 damage and gain Sing once per turn. So he can sing, and then he can give his allies the ability to sing. So he can sing, and then they can sing, and pass that on, and then they each get a little bit of a buff. He also has axes, which is just a pretty good melee ability, and a lucky ring. So if you're not playing him, you can purchase this in the Play Store, in the marketplace. His lucky ring. When the party gets treasure, they pick up 1 extra treasure. Once per battle, when an enemy attacks, roll twice and use the lower roll. This is Aknar. So somebody that's played this game before would probably want to try this guy like a second time round or something, because he relies more on the items you collect throughout the game. So with him, he doesn't deplete scrolls, so he can use them over and over and over. There's also a character that can copy them. And if you have them together, you can use 2 scrolls per battle, essentially, and reuse them, which is nice. He's also got the highest mana, the highest action points, but also some of the highest cost abilities. So If you get items, you can be really, really beefy with Aknar, but his abilities are not very strong for how much they use. So essentially, Aknar, if you're leveling Aknar up, you're gonna have to level him up to really, like, a lot to really get the benefits of his attacks. But when they do level up, then you'll be popping off like crazy. So he can heal. So one of his abilities is heal. Heal 1d6 in a 10 range circle. So he can heal the parties. Fire Patter, he deals damage, fire damage in a circle. Quicken, all players get 15 movement and 2 action points. And Study, all enemies roll 2 dice when attacking and take the smaller roll until next turn. So he also debuffs the enemies. A little bit of a jack of all trades there. On the back, he's got the Red Brooch Amulet. 4 damage to fire damage spells and weapons that cause fire damage. 5 health and 3 MP. How much is that one? Not bad. And finally, we've got Danaea, the Halfling Rogue. She focuses kind of on critical rolls and I guess poisons as well. Oh. Let's see. She's got a ability that's called Luck. Until the end of your next turn, whenever your party rolls, instead roll 2 dice and use the highest roll. And Poisoned Crossbow. Deal 1d6 normal damage. The enemy is poisoned. Poisoned enemies take 1 damage every turn for the rest of combat, non-cumulatively, ignoring armor. So there's lots of small enemies you can poop, and then they'll all kind of like bleed out. She also has one called Toxin. So all poisoned enemies take double damage until the end of your next turn. And any critical hits she gets are +3. And on the backside, she's got the Berry Amulet. So +5 healing to healing spells, potions, and scrolls. Actually, no, I thought that was on the back of someone else there. Oh, no, that was the worm potion. I was thinking Trisk had the healing stuff, but she's got healing as well in her deck repertoire. There's a couple other card types, but one of my favorite cards of this game is the Questmaster Motivations card. It's a little bit of an interesting card, so that when you are playing as the Questmaster, or the guy who runs the game, or the girl, or anybody in between, that they have a little bit more fun behind the scenes as well. So once you start your game, you want to roll 1d6 and read what kind of comes up under this card. Oh, there we go. So I shall read it. So if you roll a d1 or a 1 on a d6, you'll get this ability. And I want to say that each of these is more difficult going down. So if you get a d1, that's pretty much the most difficult thing in the game that you can try to do or accomplish. And it's not entirely skill-based, it's also luck-based. Some of these things have highlights in red. These are items that you need to go through and take out of the deck so that you can play them with the game. So you have to find some of the treasures, which means going through your treasure pile until you find them. And yeah, let's go through it. So if you roll a 1, you have to make a wish. There's only one way to see the person you loved and lost. Summon the wish demon Abaddon by saying his incantation while equipping the Grimoire of Abaddon and Dagger of Abaddon. Then stab an ally with the dagger. So you have to find out what the incantation is, and I'll give you guys a hint, just because you're all here watching with me now. This is Abaddon. So you have to summon him and See if you can get a wish. And then this is a cipher for the game. I'm not going to tell you how to find the secret message, but if you guys find it, good luck and have fun. Number 2 is Prophecy. Gather all 3 Power Stones, Power Amulet, and essentially only you think you deserve power. And you'll kill anyone who might threaten that. The main quest boss drops a Power Stone. After the main quest, kill your party. So in this instance, you're kind of like in the party to become more powerful, but then you see your party as competition. At D3, Necromancer. Find the Necromancer staff. Oh, I just found a typo, so I'm gonna just make a note here. Yeah, I got no paper. So what it says here is D1, D2, but D5. So it should say D3. D3, the Necromancer. Find the Necromancer staff and the Amulet of Life and Death. After the main quest, kill your allies, so they'll be with you forever. Dun dun dun. D4. Immortality. Find the legendary Soul Blade and listen to it. After the main quest, kill your party. D5. Status and wealth. You'll do anything to save your family estate. Amass 3,200 in treasure, or your future will be gone. Turn on your party if you complete the main quest and still don't have enough money. And finally, D6. Family. You seek the one thing you've never had. Family. Maybe this band of misbegotten adventurers is the answer. Help them grow, get strong, and create everlasting memories. Maybe not the BBEG reveal you were hoping for, but everyone loves a happy ending. So they're not all bad turning on your party there. And of course you don't have to do that if you don't want to. On the other side of that card is a counter. So your party level, you start at level 1. So you can put a dice there with a 1 on there, and when you level up, when you hit the next quest and complete it, you'll get to level 2. You can flip the dice and kind of keep track. Here is your rest counter. You can start at 0, plop a dice there when you got 1. Your rests are very important to take count of. Different quests, and most of the main quests have some sort of mechanic that will affect what happens as time passes on the island. And I use the rest mechanic to kind of forward that tick. Also, enemy skips, just so that people aren't, skipping too many enemies, or also giving them a chance to skip something like a dragon that they would not be able to fight at a low level. You do have skips. But, excuse me. Be careful, because if you're level, or if there's 2 to 5 players, if you have 2 players, you'll get more skips. If you have 5 players, you get less skips, and it's kind of one of the ways to balance the game. Moving on. We were talking about quests before, so I'll take out the quests here. You can see we've got kind of like a star there. That's your main quest. We also have level 5 quests, level 4 quests, level 3 quests, level 2 quests, and level 1 quests. You'll start on a level 1 quest, and you'll kind of find your way to the next quest on the island with those. And let's take a look at these. So this is a level 1 quest here. You gotta help someone find their lost cat on the island. And it does tell you how to play that as the quest master on the board. Just read the card. Let's see some of these other cards. Some of them are unique, some of them are fighting, some of them are helping NPCs, some of them are going to other towns to destroy something or find something or bring medicine to another town. Here we have dungeon cards. So, I should have some dice here. I shall be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. So let's see here. This is our... These are the dungeons you'll find on the island. Here you've got the start spot and you've got the finish part. So we're going to have a little token. We're going to put the token there and we're going to make a roll. We got a 5, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was actually a really good roll. So if I was to hit a 3 or a 4 here, I would hit a trap, which is 1d6 damage. Each character will have to do a dungeon kind of solo, so you'll all 4 of you will have to go through it. These can kill you if you're not careful. So if you hit a few 1d6 traps, you could die. Right here we have a -1, so if I was to roll a 6 there, I would have landed on the -1, and I would have gone back 1. So -1, -1 step. Pretty easy. Let's see what happens here. 3. Oh, so I'm going to get a boop, 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 3. That's a trap. 1 damage. That's not too bad. I might survive this yet. Next, I'm going to roll for movement. I got a 2. I'm going to go 1, 2. Oh, look at that. That might be a little bit tricky to get by. 6. So actually, that's pretty lucky there. So, okay, we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see the 2 there. If I was to land there, that would be +2. I bet you guys can figure that out. I'm not even going to go over that. Let's keep rolling. 1. Lamb. 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we passed over the trap, and we also passed over this portal here. So if I hit the portal, I would have gone boop, back to the other portal. Also, if I had hit that going through here on my first time round, I would have gone boop to that portal. So good luck. These dungeons are pretty much essentially just luck because you're rolling to get through them. 5. I don't need to roll 2 to get through here. If I roll 5, I finish this thing and I'm gone. That's how you finish a dungeon. Also, on the other side, let's see if we can get this thing to focus again. You'll see it has rewards. Come on. Okay, well, each quest does have a little reward here at the bottom. Most of the time it's treasure. In the instructions, there's instructions for how to move enemies, how to move like characters, how to move bosses, how to shoot ranged enemies. They're pretty simple. So if you're a melee character, if you're like a melee enemy as the quest master, you essentially just go forward and hit. Max out your movement points and smack. You're a barbarian. That's it. That's all you get. If you're ranged, you'll move till you're in range, and then you'll shoot at the closest hero, and you'll move back. If the card has something a little more complex, it'll kind of just say on the card. So here we have the Undead King, which is one of the main quests. Actually, you know what? I'm going to read the top of that, and then we'll go back to kind of how the boss is played. Let's see if we can get focused on there. A curse broken by time has unleashed an evil undead king from his tomb. He works to unleash his horde. Stop him. That's the flavor text on the card. At the end of every rest, roll a die. If you roll a 1 or a 2, create a zombie and battle it. So that's what I mean by every rest kind of is a bit of like a time ticker for the game. Here at the end of every rest, roll a die. If you roll a 1 or a 2, create a zombie and battle it. Then create a zombie for each time the party previously rolled a 1 or a 2. So depending on your luck, you might be battling not many zombies, but if you have 3 or 4 rests and you keep rolling 3 or 4 dice, you're going to be rolling quite a few zombies at the beginning of every battle. So just keep that in mind. On the other side of the card is the Undead King. So here it says at the top, spawn 10 undead spawn and 1 undead king. Undead spawns have 9 health, 2 armor, 20 movement, and attack for 1d6 damage. And then it gives a kind of different text for his actions. And when you're playing as the questmaster, you'll kind of just like read the card and go down the list as the actions go. And hopefully I've specified it enough that they're clear enough to play. So one here is step 1, move. 15 range towards the closest player. Step 2, sacrifice a spawn. If health is below 30, sacrifice a spawn for 4d6 health. Magic missile, 30 range. 1d6 fire damage, ignoring armor. Cast again at another player. Tribute, if any spawns are still alive, heal 1d6 per spawn. 5. Move again. So essentially once he's moved, he's cast, he'll move away. Move 20 range away from closest player. And 6. Entomb. Roll 1d6. Gain that much armor until next turn. So this is one of those guys that if you kill all his spawns, he's a lot weaker. So as a party, you should work together. Kill all the little dudes and then kill the big dude. And he doesn't actually have that much damage. He just has a lot of healing with his spawns. Let's see, what time is it? We've got a lot of cards to go through. Should we go through more? Or should we kind of go through a different set of cards? Like enemies or lance? I'll go through a couple more quests and then we'll move on to the encounters. And then we'll move on to the lands. And then we'll move on to the enemies. This is the Titan Forge. So, investigate the tremors coming from Nebula Pass. Every night, rumbling like crazy. I can't even get a good night's sleep. That's the flavor text. And at the beginning of each rest, take 1 damage cumulatively. Oh my gosh, I can't even say that word. Cumulatively for each rest. And there's another typo there. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. Well, it says each rest taken before, after 7 flips this card, and begin battle. Finding the Titan Amulet and the Titan Grimoire and find both to the Forge will shut down the Forge and stop the Titan from coming to this realm. You win the game. So there's sometimes alternate paths to winning your level 6 quest. And they'll all say on the card as well. You know, I think I might just go through these step by step, because if I'm finding our spelling mistakes and stuff, then that's probably a good thing. I'll be right back. 20 seconds. Okay, and we're back. So I'm just gonna check this out. Spelling mistake on Rise of the Titan. Bam, bam, boom. And that's why it's a prototype. So on the back of this, we've got our Titan itself. He's got 600 health. That's a lot, but it's not the most in the game. Let's see, there's some flavor text here. So, as an earthquake shakes the ground, an explosion erupts, and from the chaos rises a monstrosity of destruction. Okay, we're having a little fun now. So he's got 1, move 35 range towards the closest player. 2, meteor. Summon a meteor to the closest player's position. The comet hits at the beginning of the Titan's next turn. The comet deals 2d6 damage in a 25 range circle. No damage to the Titan. And stomp. In a circle of 15 range around the Titan for 2d6 damage. For 2d6 damage. And stone skin. Take half damage until next turn. So this is a good enemy to kind of like stun lock, because when they have something like that at the beginning of or at the end of their turn, that means like if they're taking half damage to their next turn, if you can stun lock them and stop them from doing that, you guys are going to be pumping out a lot more damage. And at the very bottom of this card, it mentions the required card in red. So here, take the Titan Amulet and the Titan Grimoire cards out and put them in the treasure pile. Easy enough. And this quest is The World Serpent. So this is kind of a little bit of Norse mythology. You guys know that? Jormungandr. So here it's Yarmungand. But, flavor text. A giant serpent has appeared offshore, the offspring of a god. The more it eats, the more it grows. Kill it before it devours everything. At the end of every quest, or battle, or rest, choose to destroy 1 piece of land from the perimeter of island. Put it into the discard pile. Each village will donate 2 barrels of giant killer poison. Each barrel you can leave as a token on a piece of land, but you must travel to that land. If the serpent devours it, deal 10d6 damage to the serpent. Flip this card if you run out of moves or reach level 6. Boop. Let's say we ran out of cards. The serpent ate the island. As the serpent devours the last bit of island, a pirate named Gerard beckons you aboard his pirate ship. Help me kill this thing and we might get out of here alive. Start combat, but on only 1 piece of enemy land. This represents the boat. During battle, players all get a turn, then roll 4d6. If you roll a 24, the Leviathan sinks your ship, and it's game over. So pretty much, it's a game of luck at this point. You can either chisel them down, or if the monster rolls a super critical, it devours you and your entire party. Also, if you're the quest master, there's the back of these cards reveal a lot about the quests themselves, or reveal a lot about the way you should play against them. So it's up to you how much you want to reveal to players. If you tell them that, hey, you need a ranged weapon to defeat this enemy, and if we all have ranged weapons, it's all going to be a lot easier. That definitely helps the game. That being said, ranged weapons are everywhere, and most of the characters do have ranged attacks. But you could be stuck with very low damage against that last boss. So it's up to you as the questmaster how much you want to reveal to players throughout the game. Some might help, some might just be more fun to watch them struggle, you know. Earn the burn. Here we have a main quest, Dragon's Nest. So there have been too many dragon attacks lately. Find the nest and destroy it. So here we got red text, so I want to read that. It says, take the dragon cards out of the deck before starting. After every third rest, choose a dragon to battle. Defeat the ice dragon, defeat the elder dragon, defeat the poison dragon. Get to Dragon Mountain to destroy the nest. And if we get all those, and we get to Dragon Mountain, which is this card. Then we get to the Dragon King. After destroying the nest and hundreds of eggs, you hear a crash behind you. A mythical Dragon King lands. What have you done? You will pay for this. It says that on the card. So step 1 is move 30 range towards the closest player. And dash in a 15 range line towards closest player. Anyone hit stops the king and takes 1d6 damage. And then Flame Slash. Deal 1d6 times 2 fire damage. Fire damage in a 10 range cone. And 4 Flame Breath. Deal 1d6 fire damage in a 15 range cone. So he's also immune to fire damage. So there are some huge fire range damage spells. One of our test players kept our Incendiary Scroll, which is like a 10d6 fire damage spell, to the last battle, and he was hoping to blast the main character with it, or the main enemy with it, and by the end he didn't do any damage. It was kind of funny. But yeah, Dragon King, immune to fire damage. This is also a main quest, the Temple of Abu Ghati. We got 5 main quests and 5 regular quests, so each game you play will require 1 main quest. This way there's a little bit of replayability. And if you're pre-ordering the game on my website or joining the Kickstarter, then we are going to have an expansion pack which will have extra main quests. I haven't decided yet, but I think I might do like either a Cthulhu, kind of like weird mystical demons, or like a pirates deck, or like I think the pirates would be cool because I could do water around the island, but I could also do like a moon base where you like either go to the moon or have the moon crash. Could do like different battle cards too, so I'm not sure if I want to like theme the expansion pack or if I just want to make it like regular cards so they just blend into your pack and you can kind of like get extras in here without knowing what they are when you're playing regularly. Back on track here. So this is the Temple of Abu Ghati. Slimes seem to be popping up everywhere. They seem to be coming from this area. Find the cause and eliminate it. At the end of every rest, roll 1d6, add that many slimes to battle. Slimes have 5 health, 15 movement, and melee attack for 1d6 normal damage. Each battle with a slime rewards a treasure. Put 3 dungeons onto the island instead of 2. Complete each one to collect an artifact. All 3 artifacts will open the Temple of Abu Ghati. So with this main quest, you have to collect all 3 of the artifacts from the dungeons. And the dungeons were those cards where we rolled kind of like dice to randomly land tiles through to get through. So you'll have to visit 3 of those to get to the end of this card and defeat the Slime God. Slime God. That is the biggest slime I've ever seen. Step 1 is move 15 range towards the closest player. Bite, 3d6 normal damage. 3 Gobble. Slime God absorbs any slime within range for 1d6 plus number of absorbed slimes healing. Oh. Uh, Anytime Slime God takes damage, drop a new slime beside him. Slimes have 5 health, 15 movement, and melee attack for 1d6 normal damage. Anytime a slime gets damaged and it's not a killing blow, create another slime beside it with 1 health, 10 movement, and 1d6 minus 2 damage. Hold on. So, I don't know if you got that. That's a lot of kind of stats stacked, but essentially, if you hit him, he'll spawn a slime. If you hit that slime, it'll spawn a slime, but they'll all get smaller as you kind of hit them. And if you hit him a bunch of times, he'll kind of like heal with the bunch of slimes around him. So here's a level 5 spell. Oh, quest, not a spell. Actually, maybe I should be cutting it there. How long are we? This has been an hour. Ooh. What do you think, chat? Should I finish the quests? We got like 20 left. I got like 100 cards, but maybe I'm definitely splitting it up. I don't think I'd want to do like a 3-hour thing tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple cards. Let's do it. So the level 5s are each have, I think it's level 5s. Yeah, they each have a static effect over the island. So this one, and some are good, some are bad. This one, each player gets 1 reroll on any dice per sleep. So that's good, but there's also a bad part to this one. A fallen angel has taken domain on Quest Island. Pay tithe by giving them 1 treasure from the party at the beginning of each sleep. Save the cards for when this card is flipped. And when you reach level 5 and you get to this map, or sorry, this quest, you flip it over and you get this Angel Raziel. Attach all cards paid as tribute to Angel Raziel as if they were a player. Control them as a player to kill the party. So, yeah, after you're paying all the tithe, if you pay a lot of tithe, you can actually create a very strong enemy. And this kind of goes into that whole, like, hey, how much does the questmaster want players to know what's going on in this? Because if the players work together and don't donate, it could be a lot different of a difficulty of battle. This is the King of Kattegat. So there's guards in the enemy deck, and this actually affects those guards. So if this card is in play, then those guards are aggressive, and they'll actually shake you down and try to rob you of treasure, or you can defeat them. But there's also a good part to that, and that means trading with the marketplace is something you can do at any time because the trade routes in the land are good. So essentially, you can't trade at the marketplace unless you're in a village or at a merchant. But this card changes that. Gives you a bit of a positive thing. I already said that in different context. So this is King Amir, the Tyrant. The flavor text is, I don't care how many die, get it done. Spawn 10 guards with King Amir. Guards have 12 health, 6 armor, and attack for 1d6 damage. Each level 1 quest completed will mean 2 less guards. So if you go around helping the level 1 villages, they'll help you in the end here. That's kind of like the effect, if that kind of reads that way. Then each level 1 quest completed will mean 2 less guards. Guards will move to obstruct players from the king, then move to lock them in combat. So there it kind of says the guards that you play in as the questmaster, as the enemy, they'll move in front of the guards to kind of block players from shooting. Emir cannot be locked in combat. He's got a crossbow that shoots 1d6 damage at 30 range. He has Inspire, so all guards get plus 3 damage and plus 20 movement. He moves. First, Move 15 range towards the closest guard or away from players. Yeah. So he kind of he has instructions for his movement, which means he kind of wants to stay away from players and stay towards his bodyguards. This is the Dream Isle Caves quest. Well, maybe I'll call it after the 5s. I'm getting all tongue twisted here. After resting, roll 1d6, start with that much extra health. So that's kind of nice. But also, every rest, roll 1d6. If you critical, a beautiful girl comes into your camp. A stranger. Although, maybe she seems familiar. She trades goods, shares wine, and plays the lute all night. As the night progresses, more laughter and more melancholy enchant you. When you wake up, everyone loses 1d6 health, and you put one treasure card on the bottom of the treasure pile. And when you flip it over, the succubus Kalia. Hey, big guy, you look so strong. Flavor text. She's got push, so any players that are close to her are pushed back. That's her first cast, so she kind of like keeps players away, but then she moves towards the closest player, and then she enchants players within 25 range. Each player rolls 1d6. On a critical, they'll skip their next turn. She's got a life drain, so everyone within 20 range, 1d6 fire damage. She heals for that much damage. She heals for that much health. And sap strength. Each player within 30 range rolls 1d6. On a critical, players lose their movement. Kalia gains it. Then she moves away from players. So she's kind of making space, attacking, stealing health, and running away. And she's got low health, but she can run pretty fast if she steals health from a bunch of players. So we had one fight where players were actually like chasing her around for quite a bit. Almost concerning. Quest to visit the fairies. So each rest roll 1d6. On a 1, fight an enemy. On a 2, you get a treasure. On a 3, everyone +1 to every roll until next rest. And on a 4, 5, or 6, nothing happens. On the flip side of that is the Fairy Queen. She's got, the humans are hunting in my domain. They steal my crop and cut my trees. Die! Move towards the closest player for 35 range and roll a 1d6 twice, then use the corresponding abilities. So with her, she has random abilities, and depending on what she rolls, she can actually get more than one turn. And if she's really, really lucky, she can demolish the whole team in one game. In one fight. It's a careful. Oh, look at that. Anybody that knows me might know this place, Walnut Grove Village. So, flavor text, oh, by the gods, here they come again. Players cannot trade here until the quest is complete. When this card is on the island, players must draw two treasures once per draw. Put one card on the bottom of the pile. Orcs keep coming to steal the harvest from humans. Stop the violence. Ooh. You know what? I think I'm going to end it there. I'm getting all tongue-tied. I can't talk. I can't explain the cards, but I will be back sometime tomorrow.